Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive with us today.
Always fun to dive deep.
And today we're exploring Hinduism.
Okay.
Specifically, we've got this really fascinating Q&A with a Hindu spiritual leader, Swamiji,
All right.
and his partner, Shree.
Cool.
And for those of you who are, wanting to learn more, this is going to be packed with insights
Yeah.
into, this ancient way of life.
Yeah, and it's more than just religion. You know how most people
Right.
think of it. Hinduism is so deeply woven into the culture and the philosophy. It's almost like a lens through which to view the world.
Okay, so to kick things off, Swamiji was asked about converting to Hinduism.
Okay.
And his answer wasn't about, rituals or anything like that.
Interesting.
He talked about eliminating conflict, living truthfully, loving wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
These actions lead to a real inner transformation.
It's so interesting about Hinduism is that it's not about blind faith or dogma.
Right.
It's about aligning your actions, your very being, with universal principles.
I see.
Truth, compassion, self-awareness, these are the pillars of what's called Dharma, the ethical and righteous way of living.
So it's less about what you believe and more about how you live.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this ties into a point Swamiji makes about Hinduism being a global culture.
Okay.
He envisions these ideals resonating with people from all walks of life.
Uh-huh.
He and Shree are putting in the work too, translating ancient texts, explaining the concepts in a way that makes them accessible to a modern audience.
That's amazing. So they're not trying to keep it exclusive. They want to share it.
Yeah.
They want to share this wisdom.
Right, yeah.
Widely, there was something about a forum, too, right?
Yes, the Devi Mandir Forum.
Okay.
It's designed to be a space for dialogue and evolution. People from various backgrounds can come together to discuss these timeless principles to learn and grow together. Swamiji refers to Hinduism as the eternal way, implying that this isn't just some localized belief system.
Right.
It's got a universality to it.
Okay, now, for something completely different, cows.
Okay.
I know it sounds random.
All right.
But Swamiji brought up a fascinating connection. The Sanskrit word for cow, go, is the same root as words for light and wisdom, Govinda and Gauri.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The cow holds a special place in Hindu culture.
Right.
It's not just an animal, it's a symbol.
Okay.
Think about it. The cow nourishes, provides sustenance.
Uh-huh.
In the same way wisdom nourishes our minds and souls.
Yeah.
This reference for the cow speaks volumes about how much Hinduism values knowledge and spiritual insight.
One thing I've always been curious about is the caste system.
Mm-hmm.
Here in the West, it tends to get a bad rap.
Sure.
But Swamiji had a different take on it. He explained that every society needs certain functions to operate: intelligence, defense, circulation, nourishment, and these functions naturally occur.
He's challenging the oversimplification, the Western misconception that it was always a rigid, enforced hierarchy.
Okay?
Swamiji even shared a story about a young man named Satyakam.
Okay.
Despite not knowing his parentage, Satyakam was accepted as a student simply because of his honesty and strong character. This was in ancient India.
So it sounds like worthiness was determined by your actions and who you were as a person, not the family you were born into.
Precisely. And this leads us to another powerful point Swamiji made when asked how he'd represent himself in the West.
Okay.
He simply said, I am a human being.
Wow.
It cuts through all the labels, all the divisions.
Right.
At our core, that's what we all are.
It's such a simple statement, but it really speaks to the inclusive nature of Hinduism.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Like, it's not about clinging to a specific identity,
Right.
but recognizing our shared humanity.
Exactly. It's about transcending those labels and finding unity in the divine spark that resides within each of us.
So we've got ethics, self-knowledge, universal values. But Hinduism is also known for its incredible rituals and ornate temples.
Mm-hmm.
One listener asked about this seeming paradox. How can such outward splendor coexist with this pursuit of inner unity?
That's a great question, and it reflects the multifaceted nature of Hinduism.
Right.
The divine can be experienced in countless ways. The beauty of those rituals, the grandeur of the temples, they're all reflections of the inner richness and beauty of the divine.
Okay, one last thing before we wrap up part one.
Yeah.
Someone asked about banyan trees.
Okay.
They'd heard their bad luck attract ghosts. I have to admit, I've even heard those stories.
It's fascinating how cultural beliefs can shape our perceptions. Swamiji, though, shared that he lived peacefully under banyan trees for years without any spooky encounters.
Huh.
He suggested those fears are likely unfounded cultural superstitions.
Wow, that really makes you think. So far, we've uncovered some amazing insights into Hinduism, its emphasis on ethical living, the importance of self-knowledge, the unique symbolism of the cow, debunking the myth of the caste system, and the idea of transcending labels. Stick with us in part two. We'll continue our exploration of this rich and fascinating tradition.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Hinduism.
It's interesting to think about how these ancient principles still resonate today. We were talking about banyan trees and ghosts.
And how cultural beliefs, sometimes even unfounded ones, can really color our understanding of things, makes you wonder what other seemingly fixed ideas might benefit from a fresh perspective.
Absolutely. We talked about Hinduism as a global culture, but what does that actually look like in practice? What are the core principles that people from all walks of life seem to connect with?
Dharma is a big one. We touched upon it earlier, but it goes way beyond just duty. It's about living ethically, conducting yourself righteously, and really fulfilling your purpose in life. It's a universal desire to live a life that has meaning.
So Dharma is like a guide helping us make choices that align with our values. But how do you know what your purpose is in the first place?
That's where self-awareness comes in, another key aspect of Hinduism. It's about understanding yourself deeply, your strengths, weaknesses, your connection to others, your place in the universe. It's a journey of self-discovery, and that resonates with people globally.
It's fascinating how Swamiji and Shree are making these ancient teachings relevant to modern life translating texts, putting things in a contemporary context, showing how these principles can actually be applied to our everyday challenges.
They're bridging that gap between tradition and modernity, demonstrating how timeless wisdom can address the very real issues we face in the 21st century. It's about evolving without losing the core essence.
I'm struck by this emphasis on personal responsibility and inner transformation. It's not about blindly following rules, but about actively engaging with these principles and weaving them into your life, right?
Exactly. Hinduism empowers the individual to take ownership of their spiritual journey. True transformation comes from within, not through some external ritual or belief system.
In this journey, it's ultimately about connecting with the divine, but Hinduism has so many deities. How does that all fit together?
It's a common question. It's important to understand that the divine in Hinduism is multifaceted. Each deity represents a different aspect of the ultimate reality, like facets of a diamond. They aren't separate entities, but expressions of the one divine force that permeates everything.
So it's not about choosing one deity over another, but recognizing they're all interconnected and the divine expresses itself in many ways.
Precisely, you find the path that resonates with you, the expression that speaks to your soul. The ultimate goal is to move beyond the limitations of the ego and merge with that infinite consciousness that connects us all.
This reminds me of Swamiji's response about being a Hindu in the West. He simply said, "I am a human being." It's so powerful.
It cuts through all the noise, all the labels. It's a reminder that we're all part of the same human family. We share the same hopes, fears, aspirations, and recognizing that shared humanity is essential for fostering understanding, compassion, and peace in our increasingly interconnected world.
So we've got Dharma self-awareness, the many faces of the divine, and the importance of recognizing our shared humanity in Part 3. We'll explore some specific examples and practical applications of these principles. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into the world of Hinduism.
It's been quite a journey, exploring these profound concepts, Dharma, self-awareness, the nature of the divine.
Yeah, it's one thing to talk about these concepts,
Right.
but how do they actually play out in everyday life?
That's a great question. Remember Swamiji's explanation of the caste system?
Yes.
He challenged the common perception of it as a rigid hierarchy
Right.
by highlighting the four essential functions found in any organism, even society as a whole.
Right. He talked about intelligent defense, circulation, and nourishment. So that's our own bodies,
Exactly.
different organs with specific roles,
Yes.
all working together for the well-being of the whole.
Exactly. And that story about Sachakam being accepted as a student based on his character,
Yeah.
not his birth, reinforces this idea that worthiness wasn't tied to social standing in ancient India.
It's a powerful reminder to look beyond external factors and judge people based on their inner qualities, their actions, how they contribute to the world around them.
It certainly challenges us to examine our own biases, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Are we judging others based on superficial labels or truly seeing their inherent worth?
And speaking of seeing things differently, I keep thinking back to that connection Swamiji made between cows and wisdom.
Ah, yes, the Sanskrit word for cow, go, also being the root for words like Govinda and Gauri, which represent light and wisdom.
It's such a beautiful metaphor, just like a cow nourishes us. Physically, wisdom nourishes our minds and souls.
That reverence for the cow speaks volumes about the importance Hinduism places on knowledge and understanding,
Right.
on cultivating that inner light that guides us toward a more enlightened way of being.
This whole deep dive has really highlighted the importance of inner transformation.
Absolutely. Hinduism encourages us to actively engage in our own spiritual growth, not through blind faith, but through self-discovery,
Yeah.
through cultivating virtues and expanding our awareness.
And this journey of self-discovery can take many forms, can't it? We talked about the multifaceted nature of the divine, with different deities representing different aspects of that ultimate reality?
Yes, and this allows for a deeply personal connection with the divine, whether it's through devotion to a particular deity, meditation, self-service, or studying sacred texts. The path is ultimately about realizing our inherent unity with that divine essence.
It's like peeling away the layers of ego and illusion to uncover that spark of divinity within each of us.
Exactly, that realization, that experience of unity is the very heart of the spiritual journey in Hinduism.
So as we wrap up our exploration of Hinduism, what's the key takeaway you'd like our listeners to ponder?
Hinduism isn't just a set of beliefs or practices, but a vibrant, evolving tradition offering profound insights into the nature of reality, the meaning of life, and the path to self-realization. It emphasizes ethical living, self-awareness, and recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings.
And as Swamiji reminded us, at the end of the day, the most important label is, I am a human being.
It's true.
A recognition of our shared humanity, a call for compassion and understanding.
Powerful stuff.
As you go about your day, your week, your life, carry these insights with you, reflect on what we've explored, question your own assumptions, and see how these ancient teachings can enrich your understanding of the world. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Hinduism.
It's been a pleasure.
Keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.